Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, a crazy turn of events happening in Capitol Hill today, where the director of the United States Secret Service, Kimberly Cheeto, was forced and subpoenaed. She wasn't going to do this, but she was subpoenaed to testify in front of Congress on Capitol Hill and in front of the world. And so Democrats decided to take this moment to talk about gun control. But the craziest part about it is that AOC decided to take this moment to actually talk about what Republicans are also talking about, is timing, placements, awareness from the United States Secret Service. The DEI horror show continues. I hope I said that right. DEI horror show. I got more people asked questions, more people testified on behalf of this situation. But before I start this video, we got new footage coming out right now, and make sure to smash the like button if you guys can. Share this to as many people as possible, because this is a very important video. It's not just about AOC turning on Democrats to actually talk about things that matter, which is very surprising, by the way. But there's new footage that shows Secret Service perch at Trump's Butler rally had a full view of the roof where the shooter carried out. By the way, a lot of unanswered questions. Take a look at this shocking video.
All right, guys, I'm up here on the building where the supposed sniper took a shot. It's not that steep at all. We just had a 70-year-old man back here climb up on the roof easily. See that water tower behind me? Had Secret Service or anybody had sniper teams up there, this guy wouldn't have.
Water tower. And it shows, remember, the water tower is a very, very tricky situation, because a lot of people have been pointing at and basically saying that, hey, they might have been a shooter out there, a second shooter. Once again, we're going to talk about that. But here's the view of the snipers. They had the view. Snipers had a clear view, and that's what it looks like. And that's the craziest part about this. More developing news. We're going to be keeping track of all of this, but it's just crazy how the snipers had a full, clean view of all of this. But let's go to AOC. Very shocking here. AOC is the only Democrat who decided to grow some balls. I guess that makes her I'm not going to say the word, but you guys know what I'm talking about. All right, here we go.
Chair recognizes Mr. Ocasio-Cortez from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Cheadle, respectfully, what you had just laid out about 60 days. We are currently in the midst of an especially concentrated presidential campaign in the moment.
Hold on, guys. Let me get you guys some better audio here.
Chair recognizes Mr. Ocasio-Cortez from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Cheadle, respectfully, what you had just laid out about 60 days. We are currently in the midst of an especially concentrated presidential campaign in the moment. That is also paired with, of course, elections happening across the country that are happening in about 100 days. So the notion of a report coming out in 60 days when the threat environment is so high in the United States, irrespective of party, is not acceptable. And I think it's very important to understand that. This is not theater.
Wow. So she's calling her out because Cheadle told everybody on the House floor that there's going to be a report on everything in 60 days. And here is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez saying, no, that's not acceptable.
This is not about jockeying. This is about the safety of some of the most highly targeted and valued targets internationally and domestically in the United States of America. So the idea that a report will be finalized in 60 days, let alone prior to any actionable decisions that would be made, is simply not acceptable.
Wow.
It has been 10 days since an assassination attempt on a former president of the United States, regardless of party. There need to be answers. Again, this party, this committee, this is not a moment of theater. We have to make policy decisions, and we have to make them now. We do. And that may be and that may require legislation. That may require policy that we must pass in the immediate term. And without that, we are flying blind. So the lack of answers and the lack of report is just simply not something that we can accept here. Director Cheadle, is there a standard perimeter that the Secret Service establishes around an event, or are those perimeters independently determined per event and scenario?
There is no standard. Every event and every venue is different and treated as such.
So each event has a different perimeter that is established depending on the logistics of that event. Now, you established earlier that the building upon which the shooter operated from was outside of that established perimeter, correct, for the Butler, Pennsylvania event?
It was outside of our secure perimeter, yes.
Now, that building was, I believe, 500. How far away was that building from the president?
It was approximately 200 yards.
200 yards. Now, the individual used an AR-15 in order to act out his assassination attempt. An AR-15 has a range of about 400 to 600 yards. My question is, why does the Secret Service perimeter, why is the Secret Service protective perimeter shorter than one of the most popular semi-automatic weapons in the United States?
Wow. So she's not even blaming the AR-15 as many Democrats did today. She's asking, why is the range shorter for Secret Service agents than the actual AR-15? Wow. Look, man, I don't trust AOC. I don't even trust, at this point, Republicans or Democrats, but specifically Democrats nowadays when it comes to these types of talks, because you don't know if they're really operating in good faith. Now, I'm not saying she's in good faith here, but I am very surprised. And sometimes I miss the days when Democrats and Republicans will come together on issues. Specifically at this very moment, I'm actually very, very surprised that she's asking this question. Like, I don't even know where she got this from. Who told her to ask this?
The Secret Service protective perimeter shorter than one of the most popular semi-automatic weapons in the United States?
There are a number of weapons out there with a number of ranges. Again, an advance was completed.
Yeah, but AR-15 is the most popular, right?
The determination of the perimeter, I'm not going to speak to specifics, but there are a number of factors that are taken into account when we determine our perimeter. Some of it has to do with terrain, some of it has to do with buildings, some of it has to do with assets and resources that are available.
And so what I'm hearing is that a perimeter was not established outdoors in an outdoor venue that would prevent an AR-15, which is one of the most common weapons used in mass shootings, from being able to be within the range of Secret Service protection.
A perimeter was established, and even though there were buildings that were outside of that perimeter, it wasn't just that building. There were a number of buildings in the area, and there was overwatch that was created to help mitigate some of those buildings.
Respectfully, Dr. Cheadle, as well.
Wow. So this Cheadle woman, right, Kimberly Cheadle, she doesn't answer any questions. Like, she doesn't really answer anything. And you can see even AOC is losing patience. What is happening?
Well, as a person who has experienced an enormous amount of threat incidents, including incidents that have never been reported publicly,
Look, I'm not even laughing at that. That's her experience.
There is a common pattern that happens here, whether it's Secret Service, FBI, Capitol Police, local departments. After a critical security failure, we often hear there will be an independent investigation. That independent investigation gets set up. Usually the expectation is between 2 to 3 months after the incident, and then nothing really occurs from there. The report is usually not satisfactory to the questions that are usually being raised here. And most importantly, corrective action is rarely taken. If I were to state anything that I think is profoundly important, is that we need to have answers to the public. Ideally, I would encourage you and the agency to be more forthright with the members that still have yet to have their questioning, because the public deserves to have full confidence, and the stakes are too high. The violence that could break out in this political moment, regardless of party, in the event of someone getting hurt, constitutes a national security threat to the
Wow. What am I listening to? Am I agree? What is happening?
entire country. Thank you, and I yield back.
Could I go back to something you
Yes,
said?
please. Feel free, Director.
Ma'am, if I could just speak to something you said at the outset when you started your questioning. I want to assure you and everyone on this committee that I'm not waiting for a report to take action. We have been conducting analysis all along, and we have been adding additional features to our security detail.
Additional features? You didn't even have secrets. You literally, it was reported allegedly that you denied Trump extra Secret Service, even though you guys know of his big threats. And you have to have AOC literally tell you, my fellow Puerto Rican right here, tell you, who is a socialist, democratic socialist, whatever that means, tell you to your face that you need to conduct a proper investigation. You need to answer the questions to everybody that's there. And it's not acceptable that the most highly targeted, valued targets internationally and domestically in the United States of America, like Trump, right? And even even Joe Biden still, like that stuff, if anything goes wrong there, like, bro, we probably won't even have a country right now. We'd have disarray. But this gets even, it gets even crazier, ladies and gentlemen. It gets even crazy. Here's Representative Nancy Mace. This gets crazier.
I have a series of questions, very specific questions. I want very specific answers. Most of my questions are going to demand a yes or no answer. Do you understand?
I do.
Okay, my first question. Both sides of the aisle today have asked for your resignation. Would you like to use my 5 minutes to draft your resignation letter? Yes or no?
No, thank you.
Was this a colossal failure?
It was a failure.
Yes or no? Was it a colossal failure is the question. Yes or no?
I have admitted this is a terrible.
This is a yes or no series of questions. Was this a colossal failure? Yes or no?
Yes.
Was this tragedy preventable? Yes or no?
Yes.
Has the Secret Service been transparent with this committee?
Yes.
Would you say the fact that we had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today as being transparent? Yes or no?
I have always been. eager
Yes
to
or no?
come
You didn't
and
want to
talk
answer the
committee.
question. We had to issue a subpoena to get you to show up today. That is not transparent, by the way. You stated earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political? Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter.
What? Nancy Mace.
Well, that's bullshit. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record articles by Punchbowl News, Political Playbook, Washington Post, all done at 5:24 a.m., 6:12 a.m., 6:34 a.m., a solid 3 to 4 hours before this committee got your statement.
Without objection, so ordered.
Okay. Is the Secret Service fully cooperating with our committee?
Yes.
Okay, you say you're fully cooperating with this committee. On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or
I
no?
will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided?
You will have to get back to me on that. What? Who is this? Bro, she needs to go.
All audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Mr. Chairman.
Whoa! What is happening? I should have watched it live. You guys are right, but I was waiting for everything to go so I could do a recap. But man, I should have did this live. Hold on.
On July 15th, this committee sent you a list of demands of information that we wanted. Has the Secret Service provided this committee a complete list of all law enforcement personnel that were there that day? Have you done that? Have you provided a list to the Oversight Committee? Yes or
I
no?
will have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th? Yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Mr.
Completely
Chairman. Mr.
dishonest.
Chairman.
I want to,
I'm
Come
gonna
on.
we have to
continue.
maintain decorum in this committee,
Any,
no matter
have
how
you provided
upset we
any and
get.
all memos to this committee that we've asked you on July 15th? Have you provided all memorandums within the Secret Service?
I would have to get back to you on that.
That is a no. You are being dishonest or lying. Like you're being dishonest here with this committee. These are important questions that the American people want answers to, and you're just dodging and talking around it in generalities. And we had to subpoena you to be here, and you won't even answer the questions. We have asked you repeatedly to answer our questions. This isn't hard. These are not hard questions. Have you provided us all communications from the Secret Service related to that day and that rally? Have you provided this committee? We've asked for this information on July 15th. Have you provided any of this information that this committee has asked of the Secret Service? Any of it?
I'll have to get back to you.
Have you even read this letter that we sent you? Did you even read this?
Yes.
Okay. And you have said you don't know, you have no idea. The answer is no. We haven't gotten a single document or piece of information or data from you or your agency in related to the rally that we have asked you for. So was this attempted assassination of Donald Trump a failure of training or execution or both?
I think that those are answers that we need to
Training,
examine.
execution, or both? Which one?
I think those are answers.
All
we
right.
need to determine.
How many Secret Service personnel have lost their jobs due to this colossal failure?
At this time, none.
How many Secret Service personnel have been required to take a refresher course on how not to let people shoot Donald Trump?
Our personnel are currently operational. We are examining the facts of this investigation, and we will make the changes necessary.
What time did law enforcement become aware that there was an individual on the roof with a clear line of sight to President Trump?
I am still verifying timelines.
Of course, 9 days in, you have no answers. How many minutes went by between the time law enforcement saw and took photos of crooks and the shooting? How many minutes?
I am still verifying timelines.
57 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Before I recognize
Wow, that was Representative Nancy Mace. She was cooking. Hello. I mean, wow. That was literally insane. That was wow. But there's more. There is absolutely more. Let's take a look here.
Thank you. I just wanted to confirm there was only one counter sniper who took.
By the way, smash the like button if you guys can, please. Right now, if you guys can. We got a little bit more to show, and then I'll get up out of here. Thank you so much for watching on the second channel, LV Nation. Smash the like button.
Took one shot. Is that
We had multiple counter sniper teams.
yeah,
available
on the
that day.
premises, but is only one took one shot? Is that correct, or only one?
Correct.
Okay.
Because I'm quite sure somebody saw in under your organization, the Secret Service, I'm quite sure somebody saw the shooter on the roof. So what was the communication through the chain of command to deal with said person?
What I can tell you is that when the individual was identified by the counter sniper, they took one shot and neutralized that individual.
But that was after the shooter already took a shot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So what you're saying now is that the Secret Service did not see the shooter on the roof until after the shooter took a shot?
I do not have all of those details at this time.
Have you talked to the agents on the ground that day?
Yes, I have.
You've talked to all of them.
Mhm.
your senior team has talked to every agent that was on the ground that day.
Yes, we have.
Have they all corroborated the same time they identified the shooter or they were made aware of the shooter, either by attendees in the crowd or local police department?
There are a number of reports of when those times were made.
Was it
those
5 minutes
notifications.
before the first shot rang out?
No,
Generally speaking, was it 10 minutes before the first shot rang out?
no. It
Was
was,
it 15 minutes before the first shot rang out?
it was less than that time frame when it was identified as a threat.
I think it's troubling for a lot of us that the number one question everyone in America is wondering is why was the roof left open? And after 9 days, we should at least maybe have a little bit of that information. And when you come to this committee hearing and you don't have anything to say about that, it's very, very troubling. Did you review the security plan for this event?
I personally do not review security plans for events that take place across the country.
By the way, like, what was she doing this whole time? What was she doing? Like, what was she doing for 9 whole days? What were you actually doing? I don't know. Like, what was she doing? Did she really think she could come up here in front of America, in front of all United States citizens who want answers for this? Because there was actually an assassination attempt on a former president, soon to be president again. Like, for 9 days, what were you doing? How do you not have these answers?
Any of them?
We have a number of events that
Who's
take
the top
place.
level official who reviews the security plans?
There's a number of people that review security plans.
Who's
as they
ultimately
unfold.
responsible for signing off on a security plan?
It's a conjunction of personnel. There are people on the ground, there are supervisors on the detail, there are people at headquarters.
So there's not one person who says, okay, this is good. It's copacetic. We're going for it.
I think much in the way that we build our security plans, where they are
No doubt
multi-layered.
there's teams working different aspects of it, but ultimately, isn't there an individual who signs off on the plan?
Much like how we design our security plans, they're multi-layered. There are multiple layers.
So there's
of
no
people.
accountability.
There is
Yes,
accountability, sir.
There's this is whether it's the FBI or Fauci or anything, it's time after time after time, these multiple layers of accountability turn into layers of plausible deniability. And
Wow, that's it. That we'll end the video there because that is the best point I've heard anybody make. I don't know who this gentleman is. Somebody give me his name in the comments, maybe after this video or now. Think about it. He's basically saying that the multiple layers of accountability basically cause when failures happen, nobody really gets held accountable because there's no direct accountable person. And that he's basically saying Fauci, and he's talking about people that testify in front of Congress. He's talking about FBI, Merrick Garland, or he's talking about, I mean, not Merrick Garland, that's DOJ, Christopher Wray. He's talking about how there's always multiple layers of responsibility. So that way it's always confusing when something goes wrong, who to actually hold accountable. That's the best point I've heard today. I got to say, what a time. What a time. I saw a lot of Democrats took this time. Thank you so much for your super chat. Helen, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. Democrats took this to talk about gun control and all these different things, but I was very surprised by AOC. Whoa. Can't do that. I guess the ADL says that's some crazy stuff, but that's not. Yeah, whatever. I saw a meme about that earlier. Anybody that does this, it's out. But that's not what I meant to do. At least ADL, YouTube, relax. But it's so crazy that AOC had probably the most common sense out of all the Democrats to ask these real life questions of, hey, let's not make it about politics. Let's actually talk about what could have happened and how we can prevent it and how we need the answers and how we don't need 60 days to get all these answers. Let's get these answers now. I agree with that. I don't know if her sentiment is obviously really worth much, at least here, because there's so many Republicans that stood up and said that times 10. But it is very surprising to see her basically go all the way away. And I mean away from like most of the Democrats that were pretty much asking questions and making it about gun control and making it about exactly what we think they're always going to make it about, which is controlling, the Second Amendment and all these things. But anyways, make sure to smash the like button. I hope you guys enjoyed this version of the news. I appreciate you guys. We will be back on this channel and on the main channel today. Melissa just sent a $10 donation. Anybody sending a donation, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. There's a lot more news coming out. Trust me, there is a lot more news coming out. That shocking news that just came out about the shooter and people and his phone and things that are tracing back to the shooter. So we got to talk about that a little later today. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one.